Democrats are the ones, they are the party that cares for the blue collar.
The 47th President of the United States.
It's the biggest red wave I've seen since Ronald Reagan's 49-state victory.
There were appeals to racism in this campaign, and there is racial bias in this country, and there is sexism in this country.
Trump, once again elected to the White House, leaders around the world congratulating him on his historic comeback. But there is one leader who apparently has no plans to congratulate him. Russia's Vladimir Putin, according to the Kremlin.
When asked the question about why hasn't Vladimir Putin congratulated President-elect Donald Trump, let's not forget that we're talking about an unfriendly country that is both directly and indirectly involved in a war against our state.
We overcame obstacles that nobody thought possible, and it is now clear that we've achieved the most incredible political thing. Look what happened. Is this crazy?
Good afternoon or good evening, everybody. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your attention to this matter, the podcast. That's right. I love what I'm doing now. I love this show, and I love each and every one of you. Whether or not you agree with me, whether or not you're MAGA, whether or not you're part of the rebellion, it doesn't matter. What matters is facts. Facts matter. They matter each and every time, each and every day, each and every state in the union. You need to have the facts. You need to know what's going on in the world around you, and you're not getting that from legacy media. Just want to say thank you to Juliet, who was here 2 hours ago to make sure she was on time for the show. We've got me and my monkey, along with Snortopupus Q Burr, our favorite polar bar. The lovely Helena J is out there as well. And it looks like several other folks, including Captain Fandom Nerd, all arrived rather early. Wow. Sin is in the house. Good to see Sin. Yes, Sin is with all of us, whether or not we are repentant or not. Just try to limit it, and you'll be better off. Culturians, greetings and hail from Joseph A. Great to see you, my friend. Please bear with me. I need to calm my throat. Apparently, talking for 8, 9, 10 hours a day across multiple days does not do your throat any favors. So I'll survive. It'll be fine. Lou Sasso says, I'm having trouble deciding which sub to get from Subway. Can someone throw me a recommendation? A lot of it's going to depend on your flavor palette, of course, and you should probably, according to Disney, use shape language. I would just say probably one that has the meat that you prefer, and get all the toppings that you get for free, because, as long as you're not allergic to them. I'm just saying. I don't eat Subway anymore. Not at all. Mutant Bamhammer is in the house. Great to see you, my friend. Oyo, all my boyos, indeed. Morgan King checking in from the Great White North. It's a beauty way to go. We've got Chef Eddie in the house. And let's see what else is out there. We got this. Thank you to Dragon Queen. Sweetheart, you did not have to do this. Saying, video dropped, hugs for all. One bear soon. Amazing. And by the way, I watched the video, I think, from a day or so ago, so I will definitely go and check that out when we are done here. Thank you, dear, and thank you for the $2 super chat, which I'm going to tell you didn't need to do. The rest of you need to do that, but not Dragon Queen. Barry the Music Man is in the house as well. It's good to see you, sir. And of course, the amazing Mark Fields with a $2 super chat to say the peaceful roads ahead, or 2 peaceful roads ahead. I think both of those are true, and I think we're going to have many, and I'm hoping for them. We got OC Dobbins out there in the world. Good to see you, my friend. And Georgia Peach, hello. Let's see who else popped through. Popsicle's here. Everybody say hello to Popsicle. And Georgia Peach, of course, and everybody else that rolled through the door. Of course, we've got Tony Piacente here, and he was gracious again. 5 Culture Casino memberships. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so very much. We've got a beautiful string of green in the chat, and if you are not a member, you should consider it. Everybody say hi to Colehauser. Good to see you, my friend. Hail Jack Bauer. Indeed. Yeah, I loved that show initially for the first few seasons, and they got a little hokey, but 24 was a brilliant idea. It's good seeing you this morning on Jay's show. And I think I've seen you a lot on the X thing. That's been a lot of fun. Of course, we got Keep It Real out there. Keep it real indeed. And Larry, the name's so nice. You say it twice. Larry. Big H. Hola, el jefe. Hola to you, my friend. Gracias. What else we got? We got lots of great people. We got James Razan. Good to see you. Thanks for being here. Much appreciated. And let's see. Did I see Rick James? I did. Richard James. Greetings from London. Well, keep yourself safe, my friend. I got to get back over to the UK. I got to see some of my family. We are family. Penny is here. Penny. And of course, Project Cambrian. Great to see you. Who else? We got more else's out there. All right. We've got a lot going on. There is some stuff that happened in the White House today talking about new health care for Americans, getting out from underneath the Garbage Act that we were saddled with by the Obama administration. You've got Schumer still holding up the government. 16 days of this because they want to spend $1.5 trillion of your tax money in just 2 months underwriting more failed bologna sausage and sending, I don't know, like gay awareness things to New Zealand or something. It's just like the amount of pork and garbage that the Democrats are for is, well, garbage. And the fact that the only reason that they're not going to start the government again is so that Bernie Sanders and AOC are able to get their No King's Day, which is funded by the same people who fund the Tifa people. And I'm not talking about Final Fantasy. All right. There he is, Jason Fox, great guy. Check out the podcast here, 540 Studio. They do a lot of fun stuff. Who else is out there? Evil Ramen is. That's right. Culture's birthday month is approaching. Yes. And I need to buy a new computer. He's gift registries are Paul Kexeros, Toms and Subs. Thank you, Six. I needed a laugh. Oh my. And another amazing gifty from Barry the Music Man with one of the greatest avatars on the planet. Sad news. Ace Frehley's on a ventilator and might be brain dead. Praying this isn't true. It will make this the worst birthday ever. Well, wow. I'm hoping it's not true. Whew. Commander Ed Straker of Shadow, it's good to see you. Chuck you, Schumer. That was funny. Look at all these great people. I'm so sorry. Look, I'm a huge fan of the band. I bought double platinum myself. Detroit Rock City was one of the first albums I played on my own record player. my own stereo in my room. The way to end protests, says Tony Piacente, is make the pay for protester companies illegal. Yeah, well, I think a lot of these NGOs should be eliminated as well. I think we've got a lot of scummy practices in the form of NGOs, and we need to get rid of them. You have to actually do charitable deeds to be a charity, at least in my opinion. We've got Hemorrhoid Hurts all the way from Australia, the land down under. Here's my 15C. And did I miss the Look, I'm Gay cat? No, we didn't do that opening today. We did the regular opening over here. That's on Sundays. So you'll have to be here on Sunday night, which is Sunday morning for you, which is weird. Yeah, brain bleeds are bad. Lost a family member quickly because of that. So Brian and Cindy are in the house, but late. It's okay. It's okay. Let's keep moving on. We got a lot to talk about. First and foremost, we've got people freaking. People in the Democrat Party are freaking because of the Voters' Rights Act, the VRA. The VRA has been used for a very long time to guarantee votes for a certain political party, because that political party has managed to hide the worst aspects of themselves, and only recently discovered that, well, they're the polar opposite of what they've been representing to that particular constituency. Regardless, the case has been sent yesterday for oral arguments to the Supreme Court. See, the VRA has Section 2, which allows for gerrymandering based on race. It's not a good thing. It's not good to be racist in any way. And this is something that the Supreme Court has decided, and especially this court, multiple times. In the United States, we have the benefit of longevity in the court system, allowing for people to stick around until they retire themselves or they're retired by no longer being alive. So at that point, a president will select a nominee, and regardless of whether or not they're qualified, and believe me, between Sotomayor and Ketanji whatever Brown, you kind of get what you get. You no longer have the great minds coming in now. It's usually, something put together with auto pen and signed by the chief of staff. Regardless, as of yesterday, and I need to remember I can't do this with the windows anymore. Hang on. Won't share the sound if I do it via window. This is the current court. These justices decide very important things like what is and what is not constitutional. And the VRA has been around for too long to not be challenged. And this challenge looks like it's going to work. And you're going to end up with 19 new Republicans in Congress because of racially driven gerrymandering in multiple states, Louisiana being one of them. Regardless, one of the most tone-deaf arguments from yesterday is the one I'm going to play you. So let's take a look. Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson, that's the name, rules that race should determine congressional districts because black voters are disabled. I'm going to play this for you because she said it.
I guess I'm thinking of it, of the fact that remedial action, absent discriminatory intent, is really not a new idea in the civil rights laws. And my kind of paradigmatic example of this is something like the ADA. Congress passed the Americans with Disabilities Act against the backdrop of a world that was generally not accessible to people with disabilities. And so it was discriminatory in effect because these folks were not able to access these buildings. And it didn't matter whether the person who built the building or the person who owned the building intended for them to be exclusionary. That's irrelevant. Congress said the facilities have to be made equally open to people with disabilities if readily possible. I guess I don't understand why that's not what's happening here. The idea in Section 2 is that we are responding to current day manifestations of past and present decisions that disadvantage minorities and make it so that they don't have equal access to the voting system, right? They're disabled. In fact, we use the word disable in Milligan. We say that's a way in which you see that these processes are not equally open.
Interesting. We all have seen the funny viral video that a guy made to mock a lot of these ideas. Like black people don't know how to use a computer. I know that's false because I know a lot of y'all out there are black. But I look at this and I'm going, how did this person get on the court in the first place? Auto pen. But because I'm always being asked if at least I was recently by Putin's cat, whether or not it's just the one person. No, we have lots of these arguments. We're not going to play them all because it would take too long. And the issue's already been decided, at least according to Politico at this point. But let's take a look at this, or listen, as I should say, to this. And this is a thing that I wish they would do. I wish they would put cameras in the Supreme Court. I think it would be great. Because you probably could see other judges rolling their eyes in the chamber when certain people speak. Anyway, let's take a listen to this. So this attorney actually corrects. This is the Principal Deputy Solicitor General, Hashim Mupan. Wait, I didn't share the right one again. I got to stop doing that. There we go. So that you guys can hear this other interesting exchange.
Reason to think that a racial group is being treated
here too. You have proof of that here.
No, you don't. What you have here is that Republicans and Democrats are different. There's no
you have some that even white Republicans or white Democrats won't vote for black candidates.
Right, but if these were white Democrats, there's no reason to think they would have a second district. None. And so what is happening here is their argument is because these Democrats happen to be black, they get a second district. If they were all white, we all agree they wouldn't get a second district. That is literally the definition of race subordinating traditional principles.
Justice Kagan?
Reason.
Wham! Wow. The only reason that we're getting a second district is because you're making race preferential choice around what would traditionally be done. And that is so funny. Sotomayor is it's very important to be thoughtful about what you're being presented, what the law is, and what the Constitution says. And right now, I mean, the two, you can count on them always being as left as possible justices are completely out to lunch. It's wild. But these kinds of things have been going on for a while. And it's one of the reasons why every single one of the major decisions, not all the decisions, but the major decisions made by the Supreme Court this year have gone in favor of the Constitution and eliminating bad law, bad precedent, bad anything, which is why the VRA is going to be smacked. And this is, it's not going to get, it's not going to get better for Democrats until they start to realize that we are a nation of laws and we have to live within them. Finally, the result of all of this obviously is going to be gaining districts for Republicans because the lines will be redrawn. There won't be any artificial reason to create extra districts where they're unnecessary, and that's going to change everything. I'm sure you understand. Let's take a look at a few super chats. We'll go into why, in greater detail, why anything with the VRA is going to matter. So please bear with me just a moment. And let me grab some supers because I don't want to miss anything. I don't want to leave anything hanging out there. We got to hope that the people over on Rumble show up. I don't know what happened to Rumble. It's just gone. Don't see anything over there. So our friend Hemorrhoid Hurts for another 15 cents. And you did not miss that. Oh, wait, I've already got that. Okay, finally, we have this rolling in from our good friend Roland, who's actually watching and listening to the show, saying, I made another, your attention to this gay. Okay. Can't wait for next Vegas meetup since I will no longer have to invest in all of that wax. Happy dreams culture. I should be fine. I will control the keys to the content house, so I'll be fine. Anyway. All right, let's keep moving. Again, thank you for donating the memberships. We are trying to get to 1,000 members on the channel, and we're trying to get to 50K subscribers. So if you know somebody that might enjoy this program, share it with them. I will truly appreciate it. And let's see. Hey, Maddie's here for $2. $1.99 for you, sir. The best beard in the biz. Thank you, Maddie. Much appreciated. That's very complimentary. I've had some people say some nice things lately. And there's that. Look at all these wonderful people in here. I got One Punch Man Tolkien fan out there chatting it up with Colehauser, Rambam 3000. Look at all these people rolling in the door. They're late, but that's okay. We've got Corn Boy 199. To be fair, below 80 IQ is generally considered mentally disabled. The average, well, no. Don't want to go down that road. Not at all. I'm not going to explore that stuff. Not at all. Copper Indio in the house. What's up? You back to either updating or whatever, but still a gold member. It's great to see you, friend. It's been a minute. Hey, Mr. Lullaman 007. Hey, y'all. What's up? Look at these great humans. I'm so blessed. God bless every one of you. Gregor No Mercy Moors says, greetings, everybody. Greetings. But let's get on it because I told you I wanted to get you in on why this all matters and why the VRA is about to take a couple of gut shots that it's not going to be able to get up from. No mercy indeed. Let's take a look at what Mila Joy posted. By the way, I think she just crossed a big milestone birthday wise, so good for her. Breaking, I think the biggest ruling is about to happen. After today's, now this is from yesterday, so after today's oral arguments, it's looking like the Supreme Court is going to strike down the racist VRA congressional districts, and there are plenty of them. Republicans could be plus 12. Democrats could be minus 12. Net gain, 24. I think it's more reliable to suggest that there's 19 here, but you can see the current map as drawn. And again, this is all in the South for the most part. This is the new map that would be drawn. Pretty wild. Anyway, I thought you guys would enjoy that. I didn't share that, did I? Let's take a look at that again. Hang on. Why is it not doing it? There it is. Okay. Yeah, this is the current map here on the left. This is the current map here on the right. So the Republicans, hopefully the majority of which are now MAGA, are going to be, well, doing much better. And so will the United States. There'll be a slimmer chance of turning over, hard-fought majorities. And there's the opportunity to make it nearly impossible to make this country worse off with socialist and Marxist ideas. We missed you too, Copper Indio. Thanks for being here. Holy cow. I haven't seen Darth Racer 777 in a long time. We got another super duper chat here from Tony Piacente. Says the best way to describe the parties is the Republicans deal with the world as it is, while the Democrats try to force the world to be the way they believe it should be. That's true. And by the way, you can eventually get there. I was just wondering what we are supposed to enjoy. My plan is to make it so you could enjoy free tacos. No, I don't know. Something. I'll try to help on Sunday nights. Anyway. So overall, I would say we're looking decent going into the next election cycle. Hey, Caleb. Good to see you, buddy. Says dropping in to say hi before I go out and cut grass. See you in the replay. Thank you for that. And please let me know you watched on the replay. It's a lot of fun memes and things that are always in these streams of consciousness coming out of X. And I always like to take a look at them. But I'm still taken aback by some of the silly arguments I heard from people who are supposed to be the best legal minds. To me, that's terrifying. But you know what's not terrifying? Awareness. Self-awareness, most particularly, but a broader understanding of the world around you. Believe it or not, somebody who I thought's brain was tapioca pudding, and I'm not talking about the President Biden. No, I'm not. I'm talking about Senator Fetterman. I was flabbergasted that Fetterman got into office in the first place. What I wasn't prepared for was the fact that he might be the one of sound mind in the Democrat Party. He basically committed the cardinal sin of making sense on stage in front of people. He was actually on stage with some pretty reputable people, and he said some very interesting things. He said, let me share this with you. There we go. He said, I know and I love people who voted for President Trump. They are not fascists. They're not Yahtzees. They're not trying to destroy the Constitution. He said, Charlie Kirk's a father that had his neck blown out by a bullet, and now people have forgotten. President Trump was in my state, got shot in the head. Could you imagine where our nation would be if he were hit in the same way as Kirk? We really got to turn the temperature down. He said,
I'm the only Democrat in my family. I grew up in a conservative part of Pennsylvania, and I grew up and I know and I love people that voted for President Trump. But they are not fascists. They're not Nazis. They're not trying to destroy the Constitution and those things. And that's part of another thing. I refuse to call people Nazis or fascists, or I would never compare anybody anybody to Hitler and those things. And now that kinds of extreme rhetoric is going to continue. We're going to be more likely in resulting in extreme kind of outcomes and political violence and doing all these kinds of things like Charlie Kirk. For me, all I could say is like, let people grieve. Give people the space. I'm not going to use that terrible thing and that Pasek assassination to make my argument and try to put out my views. It's like, my God, you know, he's a father that had his neck blown out by a bullet. And now people have forgotten. President Trump was in my state, was shot in the head. And if that would have, could you imagine where our nation would be if he was hit in the same way with Kirk? We really got to turn the temperature down. And we can agree to disagree on these kinds of things. But right now, shutting down the government, I just can't take it that.
You know, he went on to say a lot of other things, and it was suggested in the chat, and I agree. He certainly could say, he sounds like he could switch. I mean, a lot of people have suggested that recently. I mean, the fact that, you know, he's been able to recover a lot since that stroke. Yeah. Did you guys hear all of that? I hope. Look, I have a lot of nice, kind things to say about Fetterman now. There were multiple clips that he was a part of in the last few days, but he made an awful lot of sense when it came to shutting down the government, saying that there was no reason to do it. That's the same thing that Schumer was saying just a few months ago when he agreed to the last continuing resolution. The difference is they got their free health care for people not here legally smacked down in the big, beautiful bill. And that's why they want $1.5 trillion. Do you guys want your tax money to go for that anymore? I don't think you do. There are lots of countries around the world that are thumbing their nose at the globalist douches, the WEF. You know, Ursula's getting smashed around, you know, leader of the EU. You're going to start seeing a coalition of, you know, Western-minded leadership that are currently being elected around the world, starting to basically tear apart the EU. The EU is only supposed to be a trade organization. The fact that, well, I have some great out of the horse's mouth words from Carney about why there's anything super green right now, and why. Well, have him try to explain. If you're in Canada, my friendly Canadian friends, you guys need to pay attention to what was it, Brookfield, what he still works for, it seems like, but what any of the investments he makes are all about. It's about making him wealthy. It's about robbing you. It's about having you have to close down one of your largest lumber companies. That's a lot of jobs. The fact that Stellantis is leaving, well, sure, it's tariff related, but your government's been taking advantage of like a situation where there weren't supposed to be tariffs on things that we were trading back and forth. Mexico wasn't doing that. Regardless, we'll get back to that in a second, but the reason that you guys are bound up by a lot of this green stuff isn't because he's a true believer. It's because he makes money and he wants to keep basically a monopoly up there and control pipelines and things like that. I hope Alberta, Saskatchewan, the Yukon territory, I hope every single piece of the west side of y'all either join the United States or just be declared independent so we can start making you money, because your money is not staying in your provinces. It's going to the whack jobs that, you know, Carney is dealing with. Your parliament doesn't do anything for you. So there's that. And look, we've got some friends over on the green machine. So welcome. Wow, this is amazing. Athos 252 says, "Hey man, thanks for streaming on Rumble." You bet. You bet. I stream everything on Rumble. I have been for years now. Also, I'm streaming directly to X, and I'll hopefully be streaming to either Kick or elsewhere here very soon. I used to stream live to Odyssey, but that takes a whole lot of extra steps now. Regardless, I love being on Rumble. I love being on YouTube. I love being on X, and we'll keep adding. So anyway, the whole thing Fetterman's talking about and everything we've been talking about, and 16 days of it so far, coming up on 17 soon. 10 times they voted down a clean resolution, a clean continuing resolution. No policy garbage that got thrown in there. Let's take a look at what the speaker says and what comes out of other people's mouths today. And we'll see how this goes. We'll see how this goes. I'm just one of those people that I think I'm sick and tired of the way government's working. And I think you guys are too. Again, I am a proud member of the rebellion, a proud member of MAGA, and a proud citizen of the United States. So there's that. We got Speaker Johnson here. Let's see what he has to say.
I didn't see it. Many of you saw it. CNN hosts the first socialist town hall where Bernie Sanders and AOC said the quiet parts out loud. They don't know what they want to end the shutdown. They couldn't provide a single viable solution for the mess that they themselves have gleefully created. And by the way, those are the real leaders of the Democrat Party. We all know it. AOC and Bernie. Good luck with that. And amid all that, Chuck Schumer is actually bragging that every day gets better for his party. As you know, that is his words, not ours. All this would be laughable if it didn't come at the cost of American families. I didn't see it. Many that every day gets.
Yeah, he's right. I mean, the stuff, I think I have it somewhere here, but the amount of stuff that they said yesterday that was dumb was extraordinary. Bernie Sanders, he's not the leader. He is in the Senate, which means he kind of matters because he's part of the people that could be the 60 votes to get government started here again. But AOC doesn't matter at all. The continuing resolution bill that keeps being submitted, and it won't change at all. But that particular continuing resolution, which is already going to be voted for every time by the Republicans, except for Rand, who I'm starting to question. The House doesn't matter anymore. The bill's been passed, so I don't know why AOC is flapping her gums. To be fair, I don't know why Hakeem Jeffries is flapping his gums, but that's a different conversation. What I do know is, again, we are a nation of laws, rules, the rule of law, traditions. Mostly people try to practice good ethics. I would say that when it comes to insider trading, there's some people that aren't doing that so much in government, but that's a different conversation. And like I said, I'm going to call balls and strikes. So I'm very much in favor of everybody doing the right thing. But right now, we're missing some people. We need about 8 Democrats to come over and cross the line and join the yes vote for restarting the government, because you don't make policy changes during this kind of a situation. And I'm going to tell you, the policy changes that are being called for by the extreme progressive side of the political aisle in this country, we're not going to go back to, because it allows for them to just continue to feed your tax dollars to people who are not supposed to be here anyway. I think that's really kind of a simple way to look at that. And one of my favorite questions that Speaker Johnson has had to answer is, why can't you make this stop? Why can't you do something? Why don't you negotiate? And you guys, maybe you've heard him before say this, but he's 100% right. I mean, what would you have the man negotiate? And I'll let him speak for himself in this clip right here. And thank you, Athos 252. You're Canadian, 100% MAGA. Would love to see Western independence, annexation to the states. Be careful which provinces you accept. Indeed. And that's the other problem, right? Because you guys have your own political issues, Ballywick, to deal with. All right, let's get to this. Speaker Johnson, I'm going to let him speak for his own self. I'm not going to put words in his mouth.
At what point, for the good of the country, do you need to change your strategy to try to negotiate a deal with them?
It's a great question. Manu asks, why don't I change my strategy? I don't have any strategy, Manu. I'm doing the right thing, the clearly obvious thing, the traditional thing. That's exactly what Chuck Schumer voted for in March of this year and gave impassioned speeches was the right and only thing. I don't have anything to negotiate. I'll say this again to everyone here. We did not load up the temporary funding bill with any Republican priorities or partisan priorities at all. I don't have anything that I can take off of that document to make it more palatable for them. So all I am able to do is come to this microphone every day, look right into the camera and plead with the American people, as Chairwoman McClain said, to call your Senate Democrats and ask them to do the right thing. We're not playing games. They're playing a game. We're not. The strategy is to do the right and obvious thing and keep the government moving for the people.
Why don't we closer to their position?
Their position is this, Manu. Their position is they want to spend $1.5 trillion in your tax dollars to fund nonsense overseas. They want to give $200 billion to illegal aliens. We are not going to do that.
Can I make it more clear for you? It's like this man. I don't know how he does it. Look, because every once in a while, emotional creep in with me when I'm having a debate or a conversation about important issues. Like I'll just at a certain point when you can't bang your head against the wall more times because you're probably going to give yourself a brain injury. He's still calm. He's still cool, collected. I mean, that's the most emotion I've seen out of the guy. Everywhere he goes, this is the exact answer. You can't change something where you have there was no advantage put into this continuing resolution for Republicans. There's nothing other than we agree to continue at the same spending levels, yada yada yada. The bill hasn't changed. The funding mechanisms behind it haven't changed. There are other bills around it. But here we are 16 days in, and the other side of the aisle wants a fantasy. There's no other way to say it. No other way to say it. 6 is funny as heck today. Holy cow. Let's see. Darth Racer 777. Fetterman should become a Republican. I think he may. I think it's been suggested by some people here in the chat, and I think it's been suggested in a lot of circles that he should just cross the aisle. He said it himself. He's from a family of conservatives. So I look, I'm far from a conservative. I've told you guys, in certain states, you have to identify as a party in order to be able to vote. They don't consider libertarians a party, which is weird. But I mean, I've always been kind of a center left guy when it comes to everything. The only place that I'm conservative are on all the MAGA stuff. I'm fiscally conservative because I think your money and my money is important. And I want it to go to things that actually matter. I want to get back to a place where charities are the ones handing out the giveaways, whether that be a church or a community group or whatever. And I want those particular charities to be enabled to do that, but I also want them to be observed because we've had an awful lot of money laundering through charities and NGOs. or supposed charities. And I'm not down with that. And yeah, I did see that Mitch McConnell went for a little stumble again today. It was a little rough. At a certain age, this is the other problem. We need age limits. We need term limits. We need to be able to draw the line. You know, I'm going to tell you right now, I still don't feel old, but I am older. You know, I'm going to be 55 coming in November. My birthday month, as Six likes to call it. I will be celebrating my birthday all month. I feel like when you reach the speed limit, it's time to celebrate. And by the way, kids, 55 used to be the speed limit everywhere on at least national highways, freeways. But a lot of states pushed to drive it up, and then eventually the federal government's like, do whatever you want. So anyway, let's see what you guys have to say. I know there's some super chats out there. Man, you guys have been chatting. I really love it. You guys talking to each other. That's a good thing. We got great people here like Flying Blind and Rocket Cycle sending me a Shiba dog. Hey, you. And thank you for the super sticker. I love it. Thank you for the $5. We got Archer Merchant out there. Good to see you, buddy. Says, as common sense arguments are presented consistently, the extreme biases or radical agendas get exposed. I applaud the common sense consistency. So do I. And that's why it's hard not to like Speaker Johnson, right? I mean, this is a pretty consistent guy. He kind of knows what he wants, but he's a little mamby-pamby in getting it, and that's okay. You know, not everybody has to be super aggressive. I like the fact that he's thoughtful. He thinks through things. I think that's really, really important. I love the conversation on the Green Machine right now, all talking about lovely things with maybe some Canadian provinces joining us. And like I said, I mean, between lumber and oil, dude, we will help you take advantage of your stuff. We will. I can't think of anybody not wanting to help out our friends in Canada. But so the opposite of somebody like Speaker Johnson, and I think you all will probably agree with this one. And once again, I want to say thanks to Tony Piacente for this amazing $10 super chat. Folks, this is something everybody needs to like be able to tell other people. So, you know, memorize this one from Tony. Because if you are able to tell people the difference between the two parties, they'll catch up. They'll understand. Because that was let me say it differently. Because this down here from Tony was what the differences were between the two parties before. Now it's a pipe dream versus reality. Republicans, they like reality. They like common sense. They don't mind change, but not too fast and not in a way that, you know, we can't observe what the changes are because we made a change. The other side wants to cannonball right into issues and not allow for the possibility that it won't go well. Their assumptions were wrong. There are going to be issues with, you know, trading sugar for high fructose corn syrup. And if you're curious and you just heard a fancy high-end propeller-driven plane, it's because I live by a private airport. So anyway, all right, let's get to the fact that unlike, as I was saying before, Speaker Johnson, there are a lot of people out there telling you a lot of bad things, just inconsistent misinformation, or very consistent misinformation, to be fair, and actually trying to propose a different reality to everybody. Don't believe your lying eyes or your lying ears. Listen to the government. Listen to us. That's one of the funniest things that guy that played the Hulk says, Ruffalo. Ruffalo as an actor is a pretty good actor. Ruffalo as a human being is a terrible human being. And he's like, it's like he says like things coming out of like, dystopian novels. This guy is like 1984 and full speed, you know. It's just, so again, Ruffalo is one of them. But the other one that has been in the news way too much lately for as little talent and humor as he has is Jimmy Kimmel. Because he went back to his old shtick of lying to everybody. And he did it again in a terrible way. Because he's saying there's no problem in Portland. And Antifa's not real. Anybody here, raise your hand, draw my attention, whatever. If you believe that Antifa's not real, let me know. They're very real. You can go to their website. They will fundraise from you, sell you some of their gear, and look around for any, random Soros they can find to fund their violence against the other political side of the equation. And not for any of the reasons stated. Because we don't have fascism in this country. And since, by the way, Canadians, they're headed your way, have fun with that. But let's take a look at, what Antifa really was. And I think we talked about that on Tuesday's show. But, I mean, it came out of the same era of the brown shirts and everything else, guys. So it's a very bad idea from some very bad thinking that Klaus Schwab and all of the wackaloons at the WEF and the EU are all trying to make happen. You guys have to fight federal digital currency and digital ID. And you have to fight everything that comes along with those things, including it being required for you to get on a bus, for you to go to the bank, for you to get your money, for you to go grocery shopping. You do not want to live in the CCP. You want to live in a land of liberty. And the UK right now, very far from that. So let's go take a look at Jimmy Kimmel saying Jimmy Kimmel things from Chief Nerd, who seemed to grab this clip. Let's take a look. This is 42 seconds more than I ever want to hear of Jimmy Kimmel. And yet, here we are.
Antifa is just short for anti-fascist. It's not a club you can join. There are no membership dues, but they have matching signs. Okay, well, I guess we better round up these domestic terrorists, too. They look pretty matching to me. Listen, I'm going to tell you this. Spread it around. There's no chaos in Portland. None. There is no chaos in Chicago. There was no chaos in Los Angeles. They're pretending there's chaos as a pretense for a military takeover. But I'm open-minded. If there is chaos in these cities Trump calls hellholes, let's see it and decide if something needs to be done about it. Antifa...
I'm not going to let you, Jimmy Kimmel, be the arbiter of deciding that. But and yeah, according to Pinochet's helicopter tours, this is an older clip by a couple 3 days, but I could only fit in so many in our previous show because it was Tuesday. This is Thursday. I do the best I can, but the fact that this is being marched out when you see daily conflict between ICE and these people dressed in black bloc and these stupid costumes and the U-Haul truck provided by Soros Associates. Tides Foundation's in big trouble. They're being investigated right now. And any of the other groups doing this are being investigated. Secretary of Treasury Bessent was out talking about the fact that they're just going to go after these groups since they're tied to a group that's now been identified that has Terry aspirations. And don't tell me they don't, because we've had reports of, incendiary devices and improvised things and all kinds of stuff, including having people firing from the woods on the ICE folks. you got to take down the money and the funds for the protester groups, is what's suggested early on in today's chat. And I'm with you. I agree. If you take away the money, you take away the means. So, in some sense, seize the means of production. The only time I'm going to agree with a socialist. But because I promised to find the clips of Bernie, AOC, and the socialist stage show that happened, I guess they call it a town hall. I'm going to bring those up next. I will say thank you for all being here. Thank you for the super chats. Thank you for the conversation. Thank you to Archer Merchant again for another $2 super duper chat saying Jimmy ratings already collapsed after days. Kimmel? Yes, after days. Kimmel. Yeah, it truly. Kimmel's ratings have declined, and so is the news and the trustworthiness of the news. I talked a little bit about this earlier today on the Pro Show. If you guys didn't get to today's Pro Show, it was great. We had incredible guests. Tom Connors from Midnight's Edge dropped in over there, and so did one of the amazing Forces of Light ladies. Michelle was there. We just kind of round robin. Oh, and today was Jonas's last day. So I guess Jonas is moving on to a new position. So we'll have to see what happens with that. I think all of that, he's going to be breaking his own news, maybe on Friday. We'll have to see. Regardless, let's take a look at some of these clips because there are a few of them, and I think they'll be a lot of fun. I want to say a big shout out to Kronos Godwisen over there on Rumble. We got the beautiful Deeple over there as well, and so many more on the tube. 6. Jonas is awesome. I'm going to miss that guy. Anyway, Kalikio Ketty says, what? It was Jonas's last. Did you guys not follow him on X? Yeah. You guys don't follow me on X? Like I was talking with him about it on X, Twitter, whatever. Deeple's like, which speed limit? 55. 55. All right. Let's get to these clips because they're worth it. So I'm going to tell you right now, I don't want to live in a socialist dynamic. I don't think any of you do either. But this is the stuff that we all miss while we're working or while we're streaming or while we're, not watching me. By the way, this is one of the Beach Punk t-shirts that you can get. It's got a really nice saying in the back. You can go and pick this up on the beachpunk.com website right now. I'm sure that would be it'd be a wonderful surprise to me if you guys started to pick up the hats and the shirts. It'd be lovely. But let's get to this and let's share it with our friends. Share it with our friends. Here we go.
Well, I think it reflects more on Mike Johnson's leadership and President Trump's leadership. This is a leadership which said it's okay to give well, how do you feel? You tell me. Think it's a good idea to give $1 trillion in tax breaks to the richest people in the country and then make massive cuts to health care for working class people?
I think Chuck Schumer has voted for continuing resolutions 13 times in the last 4 years, and he has the opportunity to vote for one again, but he's refusing to come to the table.
I think, look.
How do you think this shutdown reflects on Chuck Schumer?
Yeah, Bernie can't answer that one. I mean, he does go on to stumble through it as an answer. I wish they'd have kept the whole clip intact. But I will say the follow-up from this Rohan Naval, who's a student at this town hall, that was brilliant. Was absolutely brilliant. Probably one of the best follow-ups you'll ever see. And this is not a journalist, which is probably why it's one of the best follow-ups you'll see. there is a lot of inconsistency. We were talking about consistency before, and there's a lot of inconsistency in the path forward for a lot of these politicians. They're incapable of asking or answering regular questions. They just kind of stumble about. And I'll give you another example from the same event, this same socialist town hall that was conducted by CNN, of course, the Communist News Network. So there's that. But let's take a look at what this crazy lady has to say, because almost every time AOC opens her mouth, it's crazy. Let's take a look at what she says. Rewind.
Rivers in rural areas were on fire because of corporations poisoning the people who lived in those areas. Poor middle-class communities getting poisoned and dumped on by corporations like Deloitte.
Okay, here's an interesting fact. Deloitte is a consulting company. They audit your books. They work with you on mergers, acquisitions. They're a financial services company. They're accountants. Didi Juvats says, poor middle class? Yeah. Deloitte, the accounting, consulting, and tax services firm. What is she talking about? Is she talking about the Cuyahoga River that would light on fire occasionally? We have two great songs because of that. Anyway, she's not wrong though, and that those problems got resolved decades ago. The only thing that's still not resolved, and I hate to get into it, but it was a lot of contributors that sent their money to the Democrats in order to turn Flint, Michigan into Hades, but that's a different conversation.
And 3M pouring chemicals into these places, and they want to call it a Democratic priority. Rivers in rural areas. Cleveland? What about, it doesn't matter. I'm not going to play their game. I don't like the what about game, because every answer to any question that you ask somebody without an argument is going to be, well, what about Trump? Well, what about him? We're talking about this. It's sliding around. Your favorite guy says she said Deloitte, but probably meant DuPont, who is famous for poisoning our world. Yeah, and so is the green effort to make us all use paper straws, which actually have forever chemicals. So shut up. Anyway, I've reached the end of patience. The tolerant party is the most intolerant party I've ever seen, and they're trying to make me intolerant as well. Getting sick and tired of that. Moving on, there's a lot going on when it comes to the upcoming election, the midterm election, the one that usually you have a switch. Default, I would get a large. Unless if you're fatter than me, though, you might get an XL. So I don't know. They have sizing charts on our site, so you can. There is a way to look at the sizing chart, my friend. It's got both centimeters and inches on it. Big H wants me to sing a lumberjack song. I'm a lumberjack and I'm okay. That one? Is that the one? Sean, you're on Blue Sky? How? I got on there one time and I was there for about 5 minutes. Boo! See ya. Oh, I don't have any links in the show notes. I'm sorry. Sorry. I need to do that. This is a new show, okay? I need to add a lot of stuff to things. I mean, this is episode 8. Oh, a G&T. That's a nice sip. Brian and Cindy. It's a rich old guy. Yeah, Bernie's pretty rich. 3 or 4 houses now. Complaining about rich people. Well, he got rich because they ran him off, and so he started to complain, and they paid him off. Mark Daly. Deloitte is an accounting firm. Yeah, accounting, taxes, that stuff. They don't dump chemicals. Yeah. Definitely their fault, though, for poisoning rural rivers. Trying to think, like, the only river I ever heard catching on fire was in Cleveland. Yeah, McKinsey Group is guilty for all kinds of stuff. They are true scumbags. In fact, I think they should be federally investigated. Sorry, I'm not reading fast enough. Clearly, it's my fault. In fact, the Bible requires you to hate evil. True story. No one can see that comment. I'm sorry. I need a producer. Timed who out? I didn't time anybody out. I didn't time anybody out. All right. Thank you, Athos, for joining us today. I hope to see you more frequently. All right, let's get to this. Now, there are a lot of issues in play when we get to the midterms. Usually, traditionally, not every time, does the party in power, when they have all three, parts of government working for them, there's usually a reckoning. You either lose House or Senate or both seats, so that one of those entities switch. That doesn't seem like that's happening now. And it doesn't seem like it will happen. It's becoming less and less likely if the results of, obviously, the Supreme Court case we talked about earlier falls the way it's likely to fall. At least the betting markets are on top of it. And the betting markets are on top of something else, which I think is fascinating. I'm not sure if you guys will find it as fascinating, but Calci has shared some information that we should pay attention to. It's from our favorite guy over on CNN, the little pollster dude that looks like a taller version of George Stephanopoulos, who's maybe get fired. But we'll see. But the odds of Democrats winning the House have plummeted by 20%. So if you take a look at this, and we'll listen to it as well, this is fascinating.
Well, we were looking at the Democrats with a very clear shot of taking control of the U.S. House of Representatives, according to the Calci prediction market odds. We saw them in an 83% chance. But those odds have gone plummeting down. Now we're talking about just a 63% chance, while the GOP's chances up like a rocket, up like gold, up from 17% to now a 37% chance. So we were looking at the Democrats with a very...
So there's a 20% switch there. And I think as we get closer and closer to the midterms, it's going to be very clear it's not going to go the way they want, so especially at the Communist News Network. But we're starting to see races flip. There's a lot of off-year election stuff that's going to be happening here next month and some other things. But you're starting to see races flip. You're starting to see people self-eliminate themselves from contention. We have been watching for the last couple of weeks a crazy woman who looks like a uglier Dolores Umbridge, like implode her whole campaign in California. She was leading. There was nobody like competing with her. And yet she revealed herself for what she was. And if that's the person that has been leading other elements of government, you elected a monster. And I don't think California is okay with electing monsters again. And Gavin Newsom's on his way out the door, so I'm not sure we don't end up with a Republican governor. It's kind of playing out like the year that Schwarzenegger came in. But I guess we'll see. Mark Daly says odds of GOP to keep the House are still too low. I agree with you, but I don't think they'll stay there. I think that all of these polls are early weighted, and I think that you're going to see somewhere around 19 seats flip before the election because of the undoing of the racial gerrymandering that had been done. You're going to see the results of all the states redrawing their lines and all those sticking around. And even if California somehow manages to earn 5 seats through gerrymandering, which again, they have to get people to agree to Prop 50, which is already going to be in violation of a law that was passed that required committees to do these lines that weren't associated, a nonpartisan group to do that. We're going to have to see. Gavin's trying to do a lot of stuff. He's not doing it very well. Brahma Bull says the Dems also lose 19 districts. We were just talking about that. Yeah, we were just talking about that, Brahma. In fact, that was one of the first parts. Thanks for being here, brother. This guy has a great Sunday show. It's going to be on right after my Sunday late night culture, which isn't quite so late anymore, but it'll be fun. Looking forward to that. And Weatherman's, yeah. Oh my gosh, that Karen. Yep. She is Katie Porter, crazy Katie Porter, says Aluvrian and Makara. Hello, dear. Says, yeah, she's one of the most horrifying creatures I've seen in a while. Look, I don't often comment about candidates' appearances. Sometimes I do, but this one you can't get past. She's just an ugly, and I'm not even talking about the outside person, the fleshy person, the very fleshy person. I'm talking about the fact that she's ugly inside, and she let it out. Which, you know what? You can't blame her ex-husband for divorcing her, trying to get out of there. She scalded the dude's head with boiling potatoes. She is not a nice person. Mark Brawley says the Californicators, there we go, are fine with monsters if they have a D after their names. Well, that's why they like themselves some wiener. And I'm talking about the politician. So. California really needs to stop sucking. I'm with you. Hey, Real Wade, what's up, buddy? And if Trump gets his census, which I have no reason to believe he won't, I think that's going to be the bigger legal fight. Is whether or not you can exclude the illegals. I think you have to. The census is supposed to be counting the citizens in the United States. When the founding fathers put that in place, they didn't imagine we wouldn't maintain our borders. They just won a war against foes to remove a 2.5% tax on goods from the crown on top of establishing borders for this country. So I don't think they were too worried about 250 years later or so, maybe longer. I don't think they were too worried about the borders at that point. They didn't know that, when you get around to Bill Clinton and the like, you were actually having debates on whether or not to protect the border from illegal invaders. I think they pretty much weren't too concerned with that way back when. Could be wrong. Maybe it's an assumption on my part, but I promise you, if they were here now, they would be really unhappy. Woody, what's up? And there's Channel Surf. Oh no, I agree, Olivrian. She it's not about appearance. She's an ugly person. She let that ugly out. It's just like, here, I disrespect everybody that's not me. Yvonne, what's going on, dear? Yvonne says, as a lifelong Californian, a lot of people will vote blue no matter who. That's a terrible plan. Even if the candidate is proven to be a terrible person. I really hope that's not true. Her numbers plummeted. Google saw a 10,000% spike in interest in her, and the other search terms were directly tied to her outburst with that poor reporter who was basically trying to get her to answer an honest question. Pilgrim Media is here for $2. Good to see you. Says, I have worked with Katie Porter type of women. Hard. I'm sorry, but she survived. John the Beagle Dad is out there. Good to see you. Please tell me Ace Frehley didn't pass. Barry's going to be devastated. And Helena got to one of the stories I wanted to talk about. Good for you. You beat me to the punch. This has been a story that's been going on for a minute. It's been going on for a minute. I'm not surprised at all. But how did I end up back here? Where is that? Right there. I'm trying to find the story. I have it. All right. Let's get to the Bolton story. This was going to be a problem from the very beginning. This is from earlier in the day. And CNN actually did the story initially. So, holy crap, CNN is revealing just how screwed John Bolton is as the grand jury is being asked to indict him. That was today. Bolton at one point was discovered having an AOL email account. He was writing notes to himself. This is a very serious national security case because guess what? He was hacked. That email account was hacked. So we also know from recent search just 2 months ago that there were many documents, including ones labeled as about weapons of mass destruction and about Allied strikes, things that had markings on them that said classified secret. There's a video here. You guys want to watch the video? Let's watch the video.
Grand jury today to indict President Trump's former national security advisor, John Bolton. This would be the third indictment of the president's self-described political enemies in just 3 weeks. I'm joined here at the table with a terrific group of reporters, including Caitlin Polance, who is bringing us this reporting. Caitlin, what do we know?
Well, Dana, we know now from various sources that the grand jury in Maryland in federal court is expected to be hearing evidence about John Bolton this afternoon. The Justice Department is expected to go in there and ask for an indictment of the former national security advisor to Donald Trump and somebody who is not just well known from the Trump era, but a longtime government official. This is a case where it's been in the works for years. It's been worked on because Bolton at one one point was discovered having an AOL email account, according to the sources I've talked to, where he was writing notes to himself about his time in the Trump White House, and that could include classified documents. We also know from a recent search just 2 months ago that there were many documents, including ones labeled as about weapons of mass destruction, about Allied strikes, things that had markings on them that said classified, secret. There were phones, computers, drives, all of that seized from his house. His lawyer has said this could all be very old material from the George W. Bush administration, and nothing inappropriate was being kept by Bolton. But there is still a important possibility here that this is a very serious national security case, and that the Justice Department does continue wanting to enforce cases like these. It might not be all of a political decision.
So,
yeah, it might not be a political decision. No, it definitely isn't a political decision. And again, she's trying to agree with the lawyers during the point of this conversation, at least give them an out that, maybe this is all old George W. Bush stuff or whatever. Everybody knows that's not true, and why, and it doesn't change the fact that it's still secret, and it could give away the ways and the means with which we conduct intelligence operations to, get intel, and you don't want that stuff to get out in the world. But we'll take a real quick look at the story itself from CNBC, and actually get a chance to look at what actually happened and what the actual results were. And as Helena J said, the story is about 3, 4, 5, 6 minutes old, maybe now. So let's jump on it. Boom. So John Bolton indicted, ex-national security advisor, is latest Trump foe to face criminal charges. This is a terrible way to write this headline. Because again, it assigns malice to the pursuit of somebody who violated some of the most critical laws we have. But okay, just because it's tied to Trump. So John Bolton is a former national security advisor to presidential Trump, was indicted by a federal grand jury in Maryland. Bolton, a Republican, is the third high-profile Trump foe to be criminally charged in recent weeks after being criticized by the president. Well, to be fair, I would have criticized him. Grand juries in Virginia separately indicted former FBI Director James Comey on charges related to allegedly lying to Congress. Allegedly? Give me strength. And New York Attorney General Letitia James, who definitely is a fraud and committed fraud. So there's that. The charges against Bolton, who, like Trump, is a Republican, were unsealed shortly after the indictment was handed into magistrate judge in the U.S. District Court in Greenbelt. This is the third guy. We know that. Grand juries, we know all of that. They put that in the sub. Anyway, they have denied any wrongdoing in those cases. Well, that's great. You can say you didn't do it, but if you have evidence in your house, I can't say how anybody would agree with you. Trump was asked about the Bolton indictment by a reporter at the White House. Trump said, "I didn't know that. You're telling me for the first time, but I think he's a bad person. Yeah, he's a bad guy. It's too bad, but that's the way it goes, right? That's the way it goes." FBI agents on August 22nd raided his house. I thought that was fun to watch. The raids are part of a national security investigation in search of classified records. A person familiar with the matter told NBC News at the time. CNBC has requested comment from Bolton's lawyer, Abe Lowell. And that's it. So short and sweet, hard to beat. This is a done deal. It's over. Now, we just have to deal with the trial and the results of the trial. And that's where it's going to get a little bit weird, because the results of the trial are going to be very bad either way for Bolton. So, yeah. And Tony, you are correct. Tony Piacente says you can't hide your true personality forever. The wild man Yavin says, I would be okay with removing illegals from the census. I think it's a requirement. They are not supposed to be here. They are they're not citizens. They're not part of our culture, operation, or anything else. Now, some people who've been here for 40, 50 years have families, stuff like that. Might be a different conversation. But the problem with doing that is that then you're like being like, well, it's okay because you've been here so long. Well, how did you get here in the first place? You know, we're running into issues. So there's that. Lindsay, hey, good to see you. The Cynical Geek is here. I can't stand people who treat political parties like a flipping sports team. Oh, okay. All right. I don't know if the media is losing their mind over it, but again, I guess this is blue on blue crime, or excuse me, I should say, or Republican on Republican crime. If I don't know how to analyze this like sports. I don't know how to do that. So Ace has passed away. That is so sad. So sad. $74. Man. Small time Republic asks an interesting question. Why didn't Biden indict him? I mean, I don't know. It would kind of make President Biden look like a hypocrite with all the confidential garbage he had in his house he wasn't supposed to have. Stuff that he took after, Obama was in office. Anyway, that's today's news on that matter. So today I heard something great because I'm not. Look, you guys probably saw my video. I'm not a fan of films that are glorifying the anti-FA folks. That's very troubling to me. And we actually have the means to get rid of it by getting rid of the means of funding. We kind of mentioned this earlier, and I kind of want to jump into it. But before I do, I want to say thank you to Pilgrim Media once again, saying they can't yell lawfare when they're guilty of it. Well, that's another problem, right? That's another problem. I think if you commit those kinds of crimes, you should be held accountable for it. And that's the thing that's been missing from government, both sides. Again, both sides. You got to call balls and strikes. You got to be honest and straightforward. Both sides have been guilty of violating the law and getting away with it, having people look the other way. And accountability is required to be fairly governed and not present yourself as a 2-tier or 3-tier or 4-tier justice system like it is in the UK right now. I really hope we don't talk amnesty. There's zero reason to do that. In fact, that would destroy our country once more. It was shown that after the amnesty that was granted by Reagan, we weren't supposed to have illegal aliens anymore. There wouldn't be any more tolerance for it. That's a lie. Where are we at right now? Not only that, it harmed a lot of voting bases, including in California. You just made a lot of people, become burdens on taxes. That's not good. Thank you, Orlando, for being here, dear. I appreciate it. O.C. Dobbins. We're getting old, culture. Yeah, we are. The Wild Man of Yavin says, for those that didn't know, News Nation had a great town hall with Bill O'Reilly. Yeah, we were talking about that earlier. Chris Cuomo, Stephen A. Smith. It was really good. And they had some good debate from other panelists. Yeah. And we were talking about the fact that Fetterman appeared on that. I think I showed a clip or two from it. So, yeah. Pilgrim Media says, I saw Kiss in 1974 in Cumberland. Really? In North Carolina? Amazing. Yeah, Ace Frehley was great. I'm still a huge Peter Criss fan because I love the ballad he wrote for his wife, the song Beth. Beth, I hear you calling, but I can't come home right now. Me and the boys are playing, and we just can't find the sound. Just a few more hours, and I'll be right home to you. Beth, I hear them calling. Oh, Beth, what can I do? But still great. They were all wonderful. Pretty neat. The Kiss and Scooby-Doo movie was great. Gosh, do you remember the Kiss movie? So weird. So much fun. Tony says, we're going to have to build a new prison to hold all these corrupt politicians. We got a lot of them. So does the UK and Canada especially. If you guys knew half the stuff Carney was doing, maybe we'll get to that story. But I want to show you this because I think this is helpful. I think that when we know how to go about the people that are funding the evil in this country, and we can go at them that way, ultimately we win. So this is Treasury Secretary Bessent. Excuse me. I always do that with his name. Anyway, it's huge. In a massive development, President Trump and Scott Bessent are planning to use the IRS to dismantle left-wing funding networks of violence and Antifa. This would be accomplished via IRS criminal division. Yikes, said the Wall Street Journal. And there you go. I would not make that man angry. I wouldn't. It would not be good. But I thought that was really good news this morning when I saw it. Man, is this... Oh, this will be fun. Okay. AOC at the Socialist Town Hall, and I tried to grab this clip earlier, but I just found it again. AOC at the Socialist Town Hall with CNN. So that's why it's socialist. Well, no, actually, it's just socialist. It's celebrating socialism. Bernie, AOC. Did they have the Mom Donnie guy or whatever? I don't know, but I know this. I don't know if AOC is stupid. I don't know that. But I know that if you listen to her, you'll probably be more stupid. Okay, maybe that's not true either. That was a cheap joke. But listen to her for a minute, please. Just let me show you this, and then you tell me.
Can I ask you on this to follow up? Because you said that it is federal law that people, undocumented immigrants, can't get Medicare, Medicaid, the Obamacare subsidies.
That's a lie.
Do you believe that should be the law, though? Or do you think undocumented immigrants should have access to federally funded health care?
I believe personally that health care is a human right. I believe that every person should be able to go to the doctor. But I believe that right now, federal law is the federal law. And that absolutely, that U.S. citizens and people who pay into our programs deserve to be covered by these programs. And I mean, once again, I do believe that the federal laws that we have on the books are appropriate.
But if
the
you
right
could
ones
choose,
to
do you believe that should be changed?
Pardon?
If you could choose, do you believe that the federal law should be changed?
I don't. I believe in a single-payer healthcare system where if you go in and you need a doctor, you can get the medical attention that you need.
Okay, let me just...
Can I ask you on this to follow?
Now, Bernie, of course, would go on to say stupider things, but let's say it this way. I'm not paying for people who are not here illegals health care. I know it's going to happen sometimes. I know it happens in emergency situations, and I grind my teeth at it, but I understand it's the human thing to do at that point. However, they just lied. Caitlin Collins allowed for it to be done. AOC knows, Caitlin Collins knows, Bernie knows that in the state of California and in other states, they do Medicare, Medicaid through, I believe, something called Medi-Cal, for those of you in California. And it's basically a way to provide illegals with health care. I am sick of that. And I'm not sure if you are too. But I just feel like they aren't even trying anymore when they're misrepresenting the truth, especially Caitlin Collins, who switched teams so she could make more money and be, one of the head honcho anchors over there. But she's pretty worthless, and she lies a lot. Hey, Spirian's in the house. What's up, dude? And the truth is, we can't afford this anymore. Weatherman said that over on the Green Machine, and he's right. Godzillionaire out there, and we've got Commander Ed Straker of Shadow. Oh, Cult is muted? Did I do that? Let me go check. Regardless, I think it's very strange that they're not admitting it. There was a Democrat that admitted it recently. Did you guys know that? That admitted that we were paying that healthcare bill. There was one that admitted recently also in Minnesota. Actually, that guy accidentally admitted that they know that they're having illegals vote up there, because if you have driver's licenses, you can vote, and they're allowing illegals to get driver's licenses, and that's like what they require up there. They register to vote with their driver's license. That's why we end up with the garbage we're getting. We should not be in this position at all. We just shouldn't be. Let me go see if I can find community. There it is. So let me see if I can find the other clips, because they're very disturbing. While I'm looking for that, I'm going to bring up something from The Hill that I found interesting. Want to know what you guys think about it? Because if you want to subvert the power of the purse, you make the purse smaller. It's interesting because one of the things the Big Beautiful Bill did was basically, fund a lot of ICE stuff, amongst other things, looking forward that this would be some kind of shenanigan that the Democrats would try to pull. But as we look at this, and this is from Live Updates, the administration updates, Senate to vote on defense. Curveball from Thune in shutdown fight. Does that mean, and I think it does mean this, that we're going to vote on funding defense absent the rest of the continuing resolution? And here's the weird thing. They could force this through. Because you just bring the Democrats in to vote and say no again to the continuing resolution, and then you have the men-at-arms and the security folks at the Capitol lock everybody in that room and force them to vote, so they could force a vote. You could force a roll call. You could force a lot of things. The House is going to be plenty fine to vote. And reasonable people will vote for it. Okay, I can't load it. Oh, well. But I think that's pretty fascinating. I truly do. What a way to circumnavigate the bad intentions of people not willing to pay our soldiers and provide for our national security. It's pretty wild. We're going to get to a Canadian thing here in just a moment for my Canadian friends. But let me see if I can fix anything else on my side. That doesn't work. Guys, I'm going to have to unmute somebody who got muted here in a moment. So, community moderation, user management. I'm looking for mutes. I don't see anybody. I have a tendency not to mute people. I don't see anybody muted, guys. I'll have to look later. I'll have to look later. All right. Sorry about that. Let's go check out our super chats and we'll jump in to the rest of it. Hey, Graf Webb's here. Hi, Graf. The most consistent person on the internet says, for Falcone's sake, cancel Disney Plus. Indeed. Indeed. Chipotle. You guys are talking about, did I miss a Chipotle conversation? How did that happen? Anyway. Newhouse Bruce says the illegals' healthcare bills are being entered as Medicaid and Medicare and submitted to the federal government for reimbursement. They are listed as homeless U.S. citizens who do not provide ID. Well, there you go. Sergeant at Arms, thank you. Yeah. That'd be fascinating, though. I was wondering if that was really an option. Have a good night, Rambam. Oh, 6 says no one was banned. Okay, I was just making sure. You guys are freaking me out. I was like, how did that happen? All right, let's take a look at what's going on in Canada. Okay? Because they're our friends. We've got about 13 minutes of show left. Let's go ahead and do it. And by the way, I did not play a montage today. I saved you all from that. Because I know some of you don't like it. I am now tuning the montages to be less flickery and bouncy and all of that, because I know some of you are annoyed and I don't want to do that. Man at Arms was from He-Man. That's right. I don't know why I came up with. Anyway, Canada, eh? That's right. Look, I have friends in Canada. I love my Canadian viewers so much. They mean the world to me. What I don't love is crazy crap. And crazy crap is happening in Canada. And it's, again, please stop voting for crazy socialists like Carney, who's only there to better himself. At least this one is not, a Cuban leader's son. Let's say it that way. Because, I mean, Castro would have been very proud of now Katy Perry's boy toy. So weird. Anyway, all right, let's take a look at this. So the Canadian Industry Minister, Melanie Joly, threatens to sue Stellantis for pulling out of Brampton, moving to the U.S. to avoid tariffs. Well, okay, first of all, Stellantis, primarily an American company, or was for a long time. It kind of the U.S. auto industry, they just decided to go up there for some reason. I don't know. Probably because it's easier to get cars working up there. It doesn't cost quite as much to build. But let's take a look at what is being done here.
To Stellantis.
So the date of this letter is today. And Melanie Joly starts the letter by saying that she's writing to express her extreme concern with these investment plans in Canada and in the U.S. And demand that the company respect its obligations flowing from billions of dollars of financial support extended over the decades. And then she says, while the current U.S. tariff environment is creating complex challenges, Stellantis has made important commitments to Canada and to its workforce. Canadians expect that Stellantis will respect and honor these commitments. Anything short of this is unacceptable. And then here's the key part, and I think we have this in writing for our viewers. Should Stellantis choose not to respect its obligations, we will act in the interests of all Canadians and hold the company to full account and exercise all options, including legal.
You can't leave Canada. You can't leave California. We'll sue you. You're going to have to pay taxes to us. You're going to have to do all this stuff. No. Anyway, we'll finish it off. I'm just like, are you serious? Well, first of all, this is the Canadian broadcast system. So it's basically just like the BBC, which is state television. This is all garbledy-gook.
So this is the real nugget in the letter that has everyone's attention. The letter does go on to lay out the case, talking about how Canada was there, the Canadian government was there for Stellantis in 2009 when it was on the brink of bankruptcy, and now expect the company to be there for Canadians.
Hang on. The 2009 bailout was from the States. So if you were living in Canada, did you guys spend a bunch of money on Stellantis also? And when I say a bunch of money, I'm talking like hundreds of billions. Because I want to know that. I want to know if they double dipped on getting rescued. I need that information. Did they take a loan and not pay it back? What are their obligations exactly? Sometimes the news isn't good enough. Yeah, she went from Orlando Bloom to Trudeau. Yeah, what a downgrade. Let's see. Katy Perry bangs a bad Canadian PM. Okay. Taylor Swift bangs an all-pro football player. Katie, don't you ever get tired of getting banged by Taylor Swift. That's funny. Anyway, Hemorrhoid Hertz drops to Culture Casino Cash, or as he says, 15 cents. Technically, I'm at work, but have BF6 for 3 hours. So I wish I knew what that meant. So Orlando Zabo says, just another way to spend our tax dollars. Well, there you go. Trying to catch up with y'all. This is crazy stuff. We're living in a weird world. Kalikio Kenny says, Culture, you and your long pauses make me think my phone stopped. Yeah, probably. This is crazy stuff, though. Helena says, there is not enough tequila on the planet to make Trudeau hot. At least Travis Kelce is nice to look at. I hear that, ladies. I hear that. What about Bad Bunny? Bad Baby Bunny? Whatever that guy's name is. Yeah. Yeah, Stellantis is kind of a worthless company now. It kind of kept getting robbed of its value along the way every time somebody else tried to pick it up and do something with it. Oh, the new Battlefield 6. That's what it is. BF6. The question from Table Salt in this, and if you know anything about Brookfield, it's basically Carney's employer, even now that he's even still there. He's the guy that's making sure that all of his crooked deals make Brookfield money. Still. And he's still making money from the crooked deals and his investments as well. This is a funny sign. Now leaving Canada. Leaving so soon? Was it something we taxed? Your carbon tax is the destruction of your country. The fact that you don't rely on your massive benefit of resources because you allowed people, or some people believed in the green wackadoodle hoax garbage. So there's that. Yeah, Lindsay, this is so very sad, dear. It is heartbreaking to many of us old people. 74. So sad. Hemorrhoid hurts, says Katy Perry. More pricks than a secondhand dartboard at this point. Okay. That's definitely calling it out for what it is. Let's see. What else do we got? We got so much more, but we don't have time to do it. Just a few more minutes, and I'm just going to tell you, this is from this guy's mouth. I want to play this last bit to our Canadian friends so they can leave wanting to, chew steel and spit nails. Because that's just the way I am. Carney in his own words, kids. Get ready with that volume knob.
We're going to manage to net zero by 2050. Actually, we're going to have specific targets by 2025 and 2030, so you can measure the short term. They don't say this quite as loudly, but what they're also saying and thinking, and we're going to make a lot of money off of this because actually this is the way the world's headed. I mean, I'm not sure exactly when we get there, but to be carbon competitive is going to be value creating. We're going to manage to net zero by 2050.
They're going to make a lot of money from this. Yeah, you are. You're going to screw your entire country. It's all a big lie, and people around the globe are waking up to it. The reestablishment of Western leadership and European countries are having them looking at getting out of the EU and getting out of these deals that tie their hands and their people's future to a lie. So, but this guy is a true scumbag, and there's more proof of it. Brookfield and they're making lots of money. What an evil jerk. Anyway, I had a great time. I hope you guys did as well. For those of you who contributed during the stream, an extra big thank you to you. If you think somebody would enjoy this particular podcast or just the channel in general, be sure to share it with them. Share the stream, share the dream, share the videos out there. Be sure to follow me on my various socials, including our very own Discord server. And we've got a full 3 more days of content leading into next week, where we have 7 more days of content. I mean, we are coming up on my birthday month, and I'm looking forward to November. I hope you are as well. On that note, I'm going to make sure I did not miss any of these amazing super chats from any of you guys, because, no super chat left behind. Pilgrim Media is very generous today, as was Archer Merchant and our friend Roland the Wretched. Tony Piacente, Copper Indio joined us again. We've got Barry the Music Man and Tony Piacente with gifties. We had, Graph Webb in here. Hemorrhoid Hurts, of course, all the way from Canada. Flying Blind on a rocket cycle with a fancy super sticker. And Maddie, who said hello earlier. Barry the Music Man, thank you so very much. Dragon Queen, you're wonderful. And Mark Fields, making sure we all had peaceful roads ahead. On that note, be sure to take care of yourself, take care of others, and until next time, it's the end. My friend, this is the end.
Yeah. Sometimes I get so mad, there's no controlling me. My thoughts get so bad, I'm like, I might grab a bat, I don't know. My wrath, my blood boils over like, oh God, here goes. I lost all feeling from my head to my toes. You said some shit that I can't let go, so just stay tuned for the rest of the show. So have you ever felt betrayed? Switches how you see things, realize something needs change. Cause I know you got me fucked up, let me show you what's up. Cause enough is enough. I'll take a face full of pavement just to make a statement. I know there's no turning back. Oh God, adrenaline wasted, so mad I can taste it. I know there's no turning back. I'll do what it takes, I ain't making mistakes like that. I'll put it on your face just to make you go take it back. I'll lose my shit, I go crazy when I'm mad. And now you go wish you would shut the fuck up real bad. And now that I'm gone, yeah, I know there's no turning back. And now that I'm gone, yeah, I know there's no turning back. I don't fucking take smoke, I'ma poke a hole through you, choking's overdue. Come at me and you won't get any older, dude. Crack your holder too. Heating up inside of me, blood so violently. Thanks for trying me. Now it's finally time to see how this rivalry becomes a dynasty.